Chicago was witnessing the rise of a new era. A young guard with lightning speed, a devastating crossover, and a fearless mentality that shook the entire league. It wasn't just about talent, his game carried a relentless hunger. Every drive to the rim felt like more than just a play. It was a statement. When he became the youngest MVP in NBA history, it wasn't simply a record being broken. It was a signal that the future of the league had arrived. Bulls fans began to believe a dynasty could be forming right before their eyes. The arena felt electric every night. Whenever he attacked the basket, the crowd would rise in anticipation, knowing something explosive could happen at any second. Analysts across the league were already saying the same thing. This was the next phase of the NBA. Everything about Chicago's trajectory felt unstoppable: confidence, chemistry, momentum. The team wasn't just competing anymore. They were building something that looked like the beginning of dominance. Then the playoffs arrived, and the pressure naturally intensified. Being the top seed carried expectations, but his body language never showed fear or hesitation. The game seemed under control. The Bulls had a comfortable lead, and the clock was slowly winding down. Normally, this is the moment when stars are given rest, when the risk is no longer worth taking. But competitive instincts are powerful. Every possession was still played with the same intensity as the first quarter. Fatigue was quietly building in the background. Even if adrenaline was masking it, no one in the arena sensed danger. Everything looked routine. Everything felt safe. And yet, in those quiet final moments, the direction of history was about to change. With less than a minute left on the clock, it looked like just another routine possession. He caught the ball at the top of the key, exploded past his defender, and drove toward the rim with the same aggression that had defined his career. It was a move fans had seen hundreds of times: quick first step, powerful plant, elevation. But this time, something was different. As he came down, his knee buckled without contact. He collapsed to the floor, clutching his leg, confusion and pain written across his face. The arena, once roaring, fell into a stunned silence. Teammates gathered around, unsure of what they had just witnessed. It didn't look dramatic at first glance, but the stillness that followed told a different story. In those 47 seconds, the energy shifted from celebration to fear. When the diagnosis came, torn ACL, the shockwaves spread far beyond Chicago. The Bulls' championship hopes instantly felt fragile. Analysts began debating whether he should have been on the floor at all. Fans questioned the decision, replaying the moment again and again. Around the league, rivals recognized the impact immediately. The balance of power had shifted overnight. What seemed like the birth of a dynasty was suddenly replaced with uncertainty. The future that once looked guaranteed now depended on recovery, resilience, and time. Rehabilitation is rarely just physical. It is a mental war fought in silence. The months that followed were filled with early mornings, empty gyms, and repetitive exercises designed to rebuild strength in a knee that had betrayed him. Each step forward felt fragile. Trusting his body again became the hardest challenge. The explosiveness that once came naturally now required caution. There were flashes during workouts that reminded everyone of who he used to be, but doubt lingered in the background. Would he attack the rim the same way? Would he land without hesitation? The pressure to return as the same unstoppable force weighed heavily. Yet recovery does not follow the timeline of expectations. It follows the pace of healing. When he finally returned to the court, the moment was emotional, but it was also different. The speed was still there in glimpses, the skill undeniable, yet the aura of invincibility had changed. Other injuries followed, extending the struggle and turning what was once a short setback into a long journey. The league continued to evolve. New stars emerged, and Chicago's championship window quietly closed. And that is why the question still lingers years later. What if that night had unfolded differently? What if those 47 seconds never happened? The NBA might tell a completely different story today.